Every single day your dog looks at you and you have absolutely no idea what they're actually seeing. Not even close. And what scientists recently discovered about that moment changes everything about how you should be treating your dog right now. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will never look at your dog the same way again. Hey, welcome to Canine Mind. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now because we go deep into what your dog is actually thinking, feeling, and trying to tell you every single day. So, let's get into it. What does your dog really see when they look at you? The answer is not what you think. And it's not just about their eyes. It goes way deeper than that. All the way down to their nervous system, their instincts, and a bond that science is only just beginning to understand. 1. Your dog doesn't see a human. They see their pack. You've probably heard people say dogs are loyal, but here's what nobody tells you. That loyalty isn't blind. It isn't trained. And it isn't just about food or treats. It's something that goes far deeper. Something that was wired into them tens of thousands of years ago. Dogs are the only animal that ever voluntarily chose to leave the wild and live alongside humans. Not because we trapped them, not because we bred them into submission, because somewhere a long time ago, a wolf decided that humans and dogs were better together than apart. And that decision never left their DNA. When your dog looks at you, they aren't seeing someone who feeds them. According to animal behaviorist Alexandra Horowitz, who has spent years studying canine cognition, dogs don't just form habits around their owners, they form identities. Your dog doesn't think of itself as an animal living in a human home. It thinks of itself as a member of a group. And you are not the group's owner. You are its center. That's why your dog follows you from room to room. That's why they check on you when you're sick. That's why they sit next to you when you cry, even when they have no idea what's wrong. They're not performing. They're not looking for a reward. They're doing exactly what a pack member does. They stay close to the ones who matter. And here's what makes that even more remarkable. Unlike cats, dogs evolved a completely different social structure for humans. They learn to read our faces. They learn to follow our pointing fingers, something even our closest primate relatives struggle to do. They shape themselves around us, not because they had to, but because in their mind, we were worth it. Keep that in mind as we move forward, because everything else in this video builds on that one idea. Your dog isn't living in your world. You are living in theirs. And once you understand that, what happens next will completely reframe how you see their behavior. 2. That thing your dog does with your dirty laundry, it's not weird, it's love. You've probably come home to find your dog curled up on your unwashed shirt, or dragging your sock across the living room floor like it's their most prized possession. Maybe you thought it was strange, maybe a little gross. But what if that moment is actually one of the purest expressions of attachment your dog is capable of showing you? Here's what's really going on. Your dog's nose contains up to 300 million olfactory receptors. Humans have about 6 million. That means your dog is living in a smell-based world that we can barely imagine. And in that world, your scent is the most powerful signal that exists. When you leave the house, your dog doesn't just miss you. They go looking for you. And since you're not there, they find the next best thing. Something that still carries your smell. Your shirt, your pillow, your shoe. To your dog, that item isn't just an object. It's a piece of you. It tells them that you were here, that you exist, that you're coming back. Scientists studying canine separation anxiety found that dogs who had access to their owner's scent during absences showed significantly lower stress behaviors than those who didn't. It wasn't a toy that calmed them. It wasn't another dog. It was the smell of you. And this goes even further. Research published in the journal Animal Cognition showed that when dogs were exposed to 5 different scents, strangers, other dogs, familiar dogs, themselves, and their owner, the owner's scent was the only one that activated the reward center in the brain. Not food, not other dogs they loved. You. Your smell literally lights up the part of your dog's brain associated with pleasure and anticipation. So, the next time your dog is face deep in your dirty laundry, don't shoo them away. They're not being weird. They're doing the dog equivalent of keeping a photo of you in their wallet. But that's just the beginning of how deep this goes. Because later in this video, we're going to talk about something even more powerful. Something your dog does with their eyes that scientists say is unique in the entire animal kingdom. And when you find out what it means, it's going to hit you somewhere deep. 3. Your dog can see your emotions better than most humans can. Let's talk about what your dog actually sees when they look at your face, because this is where it gets truly remarkable. Dogs have been living alongside humans for somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years. And in that time, something extraordinary happened. They evolved a muscle above their eyes, a muscle that wolves don't have, a muscle that exists for one purpose only, to make facial expressions that communicate with humans. Scientists call it the levator anguli oculi medialis. You probably just call it puppy eyes. And yes, it's real. It evolved specifically to talk to you. When your dog raises that muscle, their eyes get wider, their brow lifts slightly, and they look, there's no other word for it, heartbreakingly sincere, chercheur. And humans respond to that expression instinctively, the same way they respond to a child's face because that's what it was designed to do. But here's the part that should really stop you in your tracks. Your dog doesn't just send emotional signals, they receive them with terrifying accuracy. A landmark study out of the University of Lincoln found that dogs are the only non-human animal that can read human emotions by combining information from both your face and your voice. They don't just look at your expression, they listen to your tone, and they put those two things together into a complete emotional picture, the same way another human would. They can tell the difference between your happy face and your angry face, between your sad voice and your excited voice. And when those signals don't match, when you're smiling but your voice is stressed, they notice. They notice the mismatch, and they will often respond to the true emotion underneath, not the one you're pretending to have. Your dog knows when you're faking it. Let that sit for a moment. And this leads to something that most dog owners completely overlook. Their body finally exhales. What looks like pure chaos from the outside is actually your dog's nervous system saying in the loudest way it knows how, "You're back. You're back. Everything is okay again." And here's something that will make you think twice about every rushed hello you've ever given your dog. Studies show that the quality of that greeting matters. Dogs who receive even 30 seconds of focused attention, eye contact, physical touch, a calm voice during that reunion moment, show significantly lower residual stress markers for the rest of the day compared to dogs whose owners walked past them distracted or told them to calm down. 30 seconds. That's all it takes to tell your dog's nervous system that the world is safe. So, next time you walk through that door, no matter how long your day was, no matter how tired you are, give them 30 seconds. Get down on their level, let them sniff your face, shabapum. Tell them you're glad to be home. Because to them, that moment is everything. It's the whole day summed up in one reunion. Don't let it pass without meaning it. 5. Your dog would rather be with you than eat. This might be the most radical thing we say in this entire video. And we know it sounds wrong, but stay with us. Dogs are food motivated. Everyone knows that. Treats are the foundation of training. Meals are the highlight of the day. Your dog has definitely given you a look of pure desperation over a piece of cheese before. So, how could we possibly claim that you matter more to them than food? Because of the research. And the research, frankly, is stunning. A scientist named Gregory Burns spent years training dogs to lie still inside MRI machines. which is already a remarkable feat. So he could scan their brains and watch what happened in real time when they were presented with different stimuli: food, praise, their owner, strangers. What he found turned everything upside down. For the majority of dogs in the study, the reward centers of their brain responded at least as strongly to their owner's praise as to food. And for a significant portion, roughly the same amount who showed a preference, the response to their owner was actually stronger than the response to food. Let that sink in. When given a choice between a treat and your approval, a large number of dogs will choose your approval. Not because they've been trained to, not because they're trying to be good, because in the hierarchy of things that make their brain feel good, you have earned a spot above food. And this isn't just about treats, it's about time. When researchers gave dogs the choice between spending time with their owner versus spending time alone with a pile of toys, the majority chose the owner. They weren't interested in the toys. They wanted to be near the person who made them feel safe. There's a concept in dog behavior called social referencing. When a dog encounters something new or scary, their instinct is not to react and then process. Their instinct is to first look at you, to check your face, to read whether you think this new thing is safe, and then to mirror your response. They are literally outsourcing their sense of safety to you. They trust your judgment over their own instincts. That's not just loyalty. That's one of the most profound acts of trust that exists in the animal kingdom. And your dog does it for you every single day without you even noticing. 6. When your dog yawns, they might be talking to you. Let's slow down for a second and talk about something small, something you've probably seen 1,000 times and completely misread. Your dog is lying near you, relaxed, and they open their mouth in a long, slow yawn. You probably thought, oh, they're tired, maybe bored, and you moved on. But here's what canine behaviorists have known for years, and what most dog owners still haven't heard. Yawning in dogs is frequently a communication signal, not just a biological reflex. Norwegian dog trainer and researcher Turid Rugas spent decades cataloging what she calls calming signals, a library of small, subtle behaviors dogs use to communicate their emotional state and to manage tension in social situations. Yawning is one of the most common. When a dog yawns at you during a tense moment, say you're scolding them or the environment is stressful, they're not checking out. They're trying to diffuse the situation. They're saying in the clearest language they know, I'm not a threat, I'm calm, we're okay. And here's the part most people never get to try. You can yawn back. Seriously, when your dog is anxious or overstimulated, a slow, deliberate yawn from you sends them the exact same signal. Research has shown that dogs will often respond to a human yawn by visibly relaxing, softening their posture, looking away, eventually lying down. You are having a conversation. You just didn't know the language, and yawning is just the beginning. There's also blinking slowly, which signals trust, turning slightly away from your dog, which signals you're not a threat, sitting sideways rather than facing them head-on during stressful moments, which lowers their arousal significantly. Your dog has been trying to have this conversation with you since the day they met you, and every time you learn one more word of their language, the relationship gets deeper. We're getting close to the most important part of this video, because what we've covered so far, the scent, the emotions, the greetings, the trust, it all leads to one final discovery that puts everything into context. And honestly, it's the kind of thing that makes you want to go find your dog right now and just sit with them. Keep watching. 7. You are literally the reason your dog is brave. Think about the last time your dog encountered something scary. A loud noise, a new person, an unfamiliar place. What did they do? If your first instinct is to say they hid, barked, or looked to you for reassurance, you already know more than you think, because what your dog did in that moment wasn't random. It wasn't weakness. It was one of the most sophisticated social behaviors in the animal world, and you were at the center of it. In 2019, researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna published a study on what they called the secure base effect in dogs. They put dogs in an unfamiliar room with 3 different conditions: their owner present, a stranger present, or alone. Then they introduced a mildly startling novel object, something unexpected. The results were unambiguous. Dogs who had their owner present were dramatically more willing to investigate the scary object. They were more curious, more confident, more willing to recover quickly and explore. Dogs in the stranger condition showed some improvement, but nowhere near the same level. And dogs alone, they often avoided the object entirely. The owner wasn't doing anything special. They weren't encouraging the dog. They weren't pointing at the object. They were simply there, present. And that presence alone was enough to change the dog's brain chemistry and make them braver. This is what scientists called the secure base effect. It's the same phenomenon observed in human children and their primary attachment figures. When a child knows their parent is nearby, they venture further. They explore more. They recover faster from fear because part of their brain's risk assessment is outsourced to that one trusted person. Your dog does the same thing with you. You are their secure base, not their owner, not their trainer, their anchor, the fixed point in the world that makes uncertainty bearable. And when you leave the room, a part of their nervous system is always tracking where you went. Not obsessively, not anxiously, unless there are other factors at play, but quietly, constantly, the way you might keep one ear on the sound of rain while you're reading a book, just making sure. And this is where we land. This is the thing we want you to take away from everything we've covered today. Your dog doesn't need you to be perfect. They don't need you to speak their language fluently or always understand what they're trying to tell you, or never make a mistake. They've already factored all of that in. They chose you anyway. Every yawn they offer you is forgiveness. Every greeting at the door is relief.